Sir. Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, yep. Birthday day, which, prompts us to do this. Oh. This is the drunk happy birthday. Where's the Marilyn Monroe breathy? Happy birthday, Jamerio.
Yeah.
60 years old today.
How about it?
And he decides to spend his day with us. Me, Justin, Quinn.
What else would I do though? Like, it's a Monday, you know what I mean? And what do I got? No one else would hang with me, I don't think.
I know, but you didn't celebrate this past weekend at all?
No, we're celebrating next weekend. My wife and I have birthdays 2 weeks apart. And so we kind of celebrate in the middle for both of us.
Okay.
And we usually don't have parties for ourselves, but it's kind of a big
But you're
birthday.
having a party for you're having a look at me moment.
How about
look at
it?
me,
Yeah,
I made it to 60.
How much I like to be an attention seeker.
No, I know. But you know what, though? 60 is a big deal.
I think so, too.
50, we had a 50th for me, and I just went, I didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
That sounds bad.
And
then we even forgot to invite certain people because I really didn't care.
But do you agree with me that like 50 is an interesting birthday, half a century, but your life, nothing's changing at 50. You're not looking at retirement. You're not looking, you know what I mean? Like your kids are you're still an active parent at 50.
Right, going to games.
Yeah, when you're 60, everything's changing. Your kids are gone. My kids are.
Are you a grandpa yet?
Not yet. If you're listening, my daughter, it's spot time.
Hey, honey.
I'm kidding.
Listen,
I'm
is she married?
I'm joking. Yes, she is married.
Well, then TikTok goes the clock. How long has she been married?
She's been married 1 year.
Well, let's go.
Well, that's what I think too. But Katie, I'm just kidding.
No, you're not. I'm not kidding, Katie.
She terrifies me. She reminds me of her mother. I'm not gonna. No.
Well, my nephew is finally. He and his wife are pregnant. Dan hates when I say they're pregnant.
Yeah.
But they're pregnant. They're having a baby boy due in October.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be a great aunt.
Yeah.
But I'm just happy for my
time.
sister.
Yeah.
My sister's going to be a grandma.
That's fantastic. The sister that I know comes to Brand sometimes?
No, this one's in St. Louis.
Yeah.
But I can't wait.
I'm a great uncle because of my niece, and she, and they're wonderful. I love being with them. It's so much fun.
What do they call you? Uncle Jimmy?
Yeah, Uncle Jimmy, right. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what all my nieces always called me, Uncle Jimmy.
Uncle Jimmy.
Yeah.
Oh my! And you have 6 brothers and sisters, or
I
six?
do. There's 7 of us total, so I
Okay.
have 5 brothers and a sister.
Oh my! I bet your sister's a tough cookie.
She's right in the middle as well. Yes.
Oh my gosh, she was?
Yes, she is a tough cookie. So she and I are very, very close. I'm sure she's listening right now. Don't call in.
No, call in 312-642-5600. Actually, we should have a birthday celebration for you.
I don't want to have
at the end of the show at 8:50, where your loved ones and family members call in. This is an all call to the Yurio clan out there, the Italians. Beach. Call in 312-642-5600 at 8:50, and
great.
we'll get some birthday wishes going for you. All right, back to the news. Yeah. We're going to take a break from Iran because I'm a little exhausted on that. But I mean, we'll keep an eye on it because, they're going to retaliate somehow, somewhere, in some way. But we want to welcome back to the program Steve Goreham, Executive Director of the Climate Science Coalition of America and author of 4 books on energy, climate change, and sustainable development with over 100,000 copies in print. And Steve's book is Green Breakdown, The Coming Renewable Energy Failure. And that's coming out August 1st. Good morning, Mr. Gorham. How are you?
Good morning, Amy. I'm great. Happy birthday, Jim.
Thank you very much.
See, what did you get Jim for his birthday?
Did you get me something?
Did you even know it was his birthday? Because I didn't.
Oh, yeah, everybody does.
All right. So on May 22nd, the House of Representatives passed the One Big Beautiful Bill, or we call it the BBB, which has cut funding for green energy. What will be the impact on renewable and electric vehicles?
Yeah, we've got a little bit of a war going on overseas, and we have a battle in the Congress today about energy. A bunch of other things in the BBB. Of course, you're talking about Trump tax cuts and Medicaid, which get a lot of the headlines. But the House also looked to cut back all of the, or most of the government incentives for wind and solar and other renewables And these have been in place since about 1992. So 33 years or so, and these are in the form of production tax credits, investment tax credits, loans, and outright grants. And then in 2022, the Inflation Reduction Act amplified these things. The government was giving about $15 billion of incentives a year to green energy, and that's gone up to $100 billion a year with the Inflation Reduction Act. Yeah, and it goes out for 10 years. I mean, it's well over $1 trillion. But now,
well, what do we get for the money?
Well, that's a big question. I think we get a lot of projects that aren't really all that good for the economy. And so the Republicans, both in the House and the Senate, are looking to cut this back. And there's a lot of people screaming about it, of course. The wind and solar fans say wind and solar is the cheapest. But wait, you can't cut all these big government incentives for it, So, and they're also talking about cutting back getting rid of the $7,500 EV tax credit, the electric vehicle tax credit, and that'll have a big impact on that market as well. So big impacts to renewables.
Yeah, well, isn't that why Elon Musk and Trump kind of broke up, so to speak, or had a riff in their relationship? Because
I've heard two different things on that.
Yeah, what have you heard?
I heard that Elon Musk wanted the EV tax credit phased out because he believed it made his competitors more strong and he would beat them in a level playing field. Is that the truth, Chief?
Yeah, I think that is a factor. And, there were a lot of other things. I think Mr. Musk, unfortunately, got into the politics of things instead of just sticking with what Trump wanted him to do with the improving the efficiency of government. But, it's kind of tough. He's been hammered by the media. But in any case...
Well, but also, too, he's lost hasn't he lost billions of dollars?
Well, sure. Well, he did. Tesla, it's bounced back a little bit, too. But when that little riff was happening, he lost billions of dollars. I mean, it got crushed. By the way, I lost money on that trade too. By the way, I had whatever. Yeah, I was long calls of Tesla that are expiring that Friday, and that story broke on a Thursday, and they were way in the money. If you guys don't trade calls, don't start today. But I did have a quick question. In Germany, when they got rid of the EV tax credits, the demand for EVs plummeted 30% month over month.
Wow.
And the only place that's really still going to be providing huge incentive will be China after this. But do you anticipate that sort of fall off happens in our country too if they get rid of the tax credit?
Yeah, last year was not a real good year for EVs in the U.S. and Europe. They actually lost share in Europe, and they were pretty flat in the U.S. And if the tax credit goes away, that's going to have a further impact. It might boost sales shortly because people are going to try and buy them before the tax credit expires, which is either end of this year or end of next year, I think, depending on the sales volume of the manufacturer.
Oh, so you're saying that sales were flat even though the tax credit existed year over year for the last 2 years. That's pretty telling, in my opinion, that the demand isn't really there, right?
Yeah, they've been down pretty well, and the market is kind of. American Automobile Association just did a survey about a month ago, and found that only 16% of drivers were going to look at an electric vehicle the next time around, and more than 60% were not considering an electric vehicle. That's the lowest in about 5 years. So, the people who wanted that cool second car, the Tesla, a lot of them have it. But if you're living up in northern states and it's cold in the winter, or if you're living in an apartment, you got to stretch your charging cord across a public walkway, it doesn't work too well. So, EVs are great. I think they're going to grow and penetrate markets. The problem is we have a lot of people thinking that we've got to force everybody to buy an EV to stop the oceans from rising. That is where we're really doing goofy stuff.
I know, but that's what they plugged in. I mean, they pounded that into our heads when we were in grammar school and talked about don't have too many children, don't have more than 2 or 3 children. It's bad for the environment and those things that just stick with you. Now, what about EV electric trucks and buses? Because we had a plant here that they poured in millions of dollars of subsidies, and it recently closed.
Yeah, the state of California passed something called the Advanced Clean Fleets Regulation, which said at the start of 2024, all new trucks that were registered, heavy trucks that were registered in the state of California had to be zero emissions, which effectively meant electric vehicles. And it's just a crazy thing. I mean, many people have spoken out against this. Electric trucks are 2 to 3 times more expensive. They can only go about 200 or 300 miles on a charge, where a diesel truck can go 1,200 miles. People have estimated you have to put twice as many trucks on the road as if everything went to electric. How is that environmentally friendly? But what happened was that with Mr. Trump getting in there and Lee Zeldin and the EPA, they have revoked the waiver for California. The California gets waivers from the Clean Air Act, which the federal government is supposed to determine all pollution issues, but California gets waivers, but that's now been revoked. So that whole program is in disarray. It's shut down, and many states were going to try and follow California, but that is completely gone right now.
Good. So the one thing I wanted to ask you real quick, because I've been an oil trader at times in my career, so I don't know nearly as much about the renewables as you do, but I'm going to pretend like I do for a second. But anyway, the question was going to be, is several different analysts I talked to really do have some high hopes for solar. It sounds like from your tone, you have no hope for solar. And if that's the case, is it just going to be fossil fuels, or is nuclear involved in your thesis for what it looks like in 10, 20, 30 years down the road here?
Well, we have a thing going on right now called the artificial intelligence revolution. And for about 2 decades, electrical power demand in the United States was flat, 4.2 million gigawatt hours. And we closed 200 coal plants. We put in a whole bunch of natural gas. We put in some wind and solar. But all of a sudden, we have this huge ramp in demand. We have Meta and Google and Amazon, all these people building these big data centers. Data center power, where we were just powering the internet and web storage, was about 4% of U.S. electricity at the start of last year. It's projected to be 20% of U.S. electricity within a decade. And Virginia says by 2040, the power they have to generate is going to have to triple. Texas says by 2030, it's going to be more than double. So this is something you just can't do with wind and solar. These AI centers run 24 hours a day, weeks and weeks on end. And so what they're doing now is they are extending and restarting plants. Their nuclear power plants are restarting in Michigan and Pennsylvania. They've extended coal plants in Georgia, Indiana, Tennessee, Utah, West Virginia, and other states. And there's over 200 gas plants in planning or under construction. By the way, the new thing is BYOP, bring your own power.
Really?
we have people like Tesla and others that are building their own gas power plants to power these artificial intelligence systems. And so this is just going to put a clamp on wind and solar. You just can't do it with wind and solar. So, and it's really going to clobber the net zero energy transition.
But you are saying that nuclear has a huge part in this going forward, right?
Well, it could, and I think nuclear needs some cost breakthroughs. The problem today is that the nuclear plants take more than 10 years to build. You can build a gas plant in 3 years. The gas plants are about 1/5 the cost of nuclear. So we really need cost breakthrough with nuclear, and we need to get the government out of things. I spoke at a plastic pipe group a year or two back, and the guy said, well, normally when we ship pipe, we need 1 or 2 pages of paperwork. Unless we go to a nuclear plant, then we need 1 or 2 inches of paperwork. I mean, it's just crazy. So we need cost breakthroughs in nuclear, but I know Secretary Chris Wright wants nuclear to play a big role, so we'll have to see how it goes.
All right, Steve Gorman, thank you so much. And your new book, the Green Breakdown, where can listeners get your books?
Yeah, they can go to my website, stevegoreham.com, Goreham. It's on Amazon. There are ebooks as well. And in addition to the science and economics, got a lot of fun color sidebars like the one Global Warming Makes Couples Cheat, says a dating website.
Oh, wait. There's a dating website that says what?
Global Warming Makes Couples Cheat. This was in the Miami New Times. So now you have an excuse for your wife. Global warming made me do it.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Where do they? Who
thought of that?
Yeah, it's
like singlefarmers.com or what? That's a good one. But global warming made me do it, honey.
Yeah.
Do you think that's admissible in court, Steve?
There are endless crazy climate headlines, and a lot of them are captured in Green Breakdown.
Oh, okay, great. Well, thanks as always for joining us. We really appreciate it and all that you do.
Thank you.
And he's executive director of the Climate Science Coalition of America and author of 4 books on energy, climate change, and sustainable development. And his latest book is Green Breakdown, The Coming Renewable Energy Failure, which is coming out on August 1st. And he joined us on our turnkey .pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
We couldn't decide if we needed in-home care for Dad.
Right. Just some help here and there with bathing, organizing his meds, a walk through the neighborhood.
Oh, exactly. But everywhere we looked, we had a 4-hour minimum. It was more care than he needed. And it didn't make sense to spend extra for it.
Then we found Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest.